All right.
Still working?
For now, I'm hoping it just keeps working. If it doesn't, I'm going to ignore that fact and continue on with my life.
Dig it. So as often as we interact, I need to get you a label for the screen.
Yeah, you do, bitch.
I'm not going to do that on because it takes me a few minutes to do them, but yeah, just good old Gorps, or do you want it to be Gorps Inc? Is the ink mean something special, or is it just incorporated?
It's just incorporated. I started
Okay,
doing that for my gamer tag a while ago, and it stuck also, kind of like the name Gorp stuck.
for sure. No, I dig it. And again, that's why I was asking. I didn't know if it like stood for something, or if there was a further story to that, or you. No, I'm just a boss now.
Yep.
I can respect that. So, all right.
Horseradish, would you like to introduce yourself to my chat real quick? Because some of them don't know you.
Well, I'm sorry that you don't know me yet. I am the horseradish. I am a streamer, and I don't really know how to introduce myself. I talk a lot, and some people seem to like listening to it. So I'll keep doing it as long as somebody's listening. I like politics. I'm kind of a current events addict, and I'm a centrist moderate who believes that the solution is probably somewhere in the middle, and that goes for any problem. So
And are you twitch.tv/ the horseradish?
I
That's your
am
thing, right?
so the horseradish show. I am also the horseradish, and I'm also the horseradish on Kick.com. So depending on how it all works out, you can find me at any of those three places.
Yes, he is on Kick right now. So do you want me to? I want to give you a shout out. Are we shouting out the horseradish or the horseradish show? What do you want?
Go with the horseradish show. Well, can you do the kick? You probably can't do a kick show.
I, I mean, I can just. I'm just sending
I'm
links.
happy with that. Okay. Well,
So there,
so
I
the
sent.
horseradish show. The horseradish show is the best way to find me. So, but it's not going
All
to be
right.
the same kind of content as what we're doing here. So,
Yes, his
I should.
politics is going to be on Kick. Which, if y'all give me 2 seconds, I can go get the link for you.
Well, that would be mighty sweet of you.
I am, in fact, doing that. I am the sweetest of all sweets.
I do
All
have a
right,
question.
and there is his Kick link.
How does the audio sound? Because I've always streamed using actual like mics. No, I've always streamed using actual mics. I've never done it with the headset. Does it sound okay, or does it sound super tinny?
I think it sounds more tinny than normal, but it's not like noticeable. It's also Discord is Discord.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound bad, but
Okay,
I
cool.
just know what you're comparing it to already. So
Because usually my audio is pretty nice, and so I'm just gonna have to get another fucking setup in here with another. Because the thing is, those mics that I use are powered mics.
yeah,
So basically, I have to have I have to have a powered mic mixer to be able to run it through the PC. Otherwise, I might just end up buying a direct USB plug. Is that it? Do you use a mixer, or is that a USB direct?
I use a USB mic and then I have a virtual mixer
Okay.
called
But
Voice Meter, which is super nice.
okay. And so so you're able to basically do EQ stuff like that with it.
Yep.
Okay. Have you ever tried the mic without that just to see how it sounds?
I have it just the what it does is it gives me a little bit of boost and also gives me a little bit of a noise gate and also makes my voice slightly deeper.
Okay. Right on.
So it doesn't do a ton, but it does something that is noticeable to me.
Gotcha.
And then I have quite a few filters on my OBS mic to get all of the noise gating and stuff, which I can help you figure out later if you want to. It doesn't really sound like you need it, but
And the thing is, my voice has a tendency to make like it's got a weird break point on a lot of microphones. Always has. So that was why I originally got the mixer instead. Was so that plus I had when we started out we had fucking five microphones all at once. You know what I mean?
yeah, you had
So
a big old setup.
yeah. Which again, the setup's still all out there, but I just don't need to use it that way anymore. So, but so are you able to see? Hang on. Are you able to see the uh, resolution? on your screen?
The resolution on my screen? What do you mean?
The United States federal government should increase its
Oh,
diplomatic
the whole thing,
presence
the whole
to
thing.
resolve
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
armed conflicts in West Asia. Okay.
Also, are you sure it's copyrighted? I feel like I found it on the internet when I was doing research.
The resolution isn't copyrighted. That brief that I sent you is,
Okay, okay.
because that brief was done by, like I said, this is like the national competition, high school competition debate resolution for public forum debates. So that's like easy, that's publicly accessible. But when you buy the brief, I guess like that's what has all the different definitions, a bunch of different pro.
It's the one with more information.
Exactly. And
Okay.
the person who compiled all of that, because ultimately all of the things that it says are from other
Oh yeah, I
sources.
accidentally found almost all of the sources for this.
Yeah, again,
I was like, okay.
I'm not surprised. The fact is he accumulated it and sells it as a thing. So,
Yeah.
which, like I said, it doesn't even say that I can't. It says that you're not supposed to publicly, or you're not supposed to post it anywhere that it is publicly available.
Yeah.
But
We'll
that
just
doesn't
keep
mean
it
I
off
can't talk
stream.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I've got it on my phone, and that way, but really, like I said, most of it I've read the thing top to bottom a couple of times now, just to kind of see what the existing arguments for it were and against and whatnot. But really, the thing that, like I said, I kind of want to do, and this is as much for Moss and their debate partners and such, to be able to listen to this and kind of get a feel for some of the ideas that maybe a high schooler wouldn't know about or think about, right? And
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't come across as condescending. It's just
High schoolers are high schoolers.
and we're
It's not a
news
bad thing. They're just young.
exactly, and you and I both are into political science and current events and et cetera, et cetera. So like I said, and thinking around the corners, right, for debate itself, because I know that you're interested. So
Yeah.
and we were originally going to have a formal debate, and you were going to go with the pro, and I was going to go with the neg. But uh, I actually had a trick up my sleeve if we were gonna do it formal, and that was because I preferred the neg for the.
Sneaky, sneaky snake.
Uh, so this is the thing that I've told Moss. Whenever it comes to an actual debate, my special power, or my trick, is always to find the loophole, right? To find the corner that other people don't expect you to be lurking behind. And so the prima facie of this is that there's two options, right? There's diplomacy or bullets, right? And I was
That's
going to
not
go
really
with,
what the two options are.
okay.
It's kind of three options.
There is three options. And I was counting on the fact that most people aren't going to hear or think about that third option, and I'm
Come
betting that
on,
the
buddy.
third
You
option.
know
I know
me.
you would, boo, but I'm again, like I said, this is why I wanted to have this conversation with you. So why don't you tell me what the third option is?
We got diplomacy, we got military, and we got hands off.
Stay the fuck out of it. And that's exactly what I was going to say. Because the fact is, and I was actually kind of advising them, that if they were to build their case properly, they'll be able to use that third option as pro orc neg. Like, depending on how they define their terms, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, we should encourage more diplomacy through our proxy allies in the region. Or no, we need to not have diplomacy. We need to have other people doing the diplomacy. Like I said, how they frame it, they can use that same case, and it's a solid case. Because, like I said, I really don't think. I'm curious to see how many people actually, or how many students, you know what I mean, high schoolers, are going to use that tact for the resolution. You know what I
It's
mean?
only
Or
gonna be those like crazy, like actually into politics ones. Everyone
yes,
else gonna right over their head.
exactly. So that said, if we since we both know exactly the direction that one would go and how that would play out, because that's my actual stance on the subject, is how is about we stay out of it, right? Coming from a pro, do you believe that the US is able to negotiate on behalf of internal conflicts in the Middle East and Western Asia?
I think that the U.S. can help. They cannot do everything. I would never claim that we can do everything. We don't have that kind of power. But I think that we can help. We can provide aid in humanitarian crises, especially, and we can set forth. We can basically be, at the very least, a mediator between these countries who currently are unwilling to negotiate. So, because I mean, this was specifically about like internal conflicts. We have things like Israel, Palestine, where the United States can help be a mediator. We have Turkey and everyone, honestly, Saudi Arabia and Yemen, like all of these things that are generally the two countries involved don't want to talk to each other. We can push them towards that at the very least. And also, we have personal interests in this, so we should.
So that's actually good that you brought that up because that was what I was going to say. My concerns come from the fact, and what I was explaining to them as well was, at the end of the day, in my opinion, in order for somebody to, we are talking about trying to negotiate in theocracies. They have nothing, no reason to go to a diplomacy table. An
They do.
internal conflict, again, most of these people believe that their religion is the reason, and they think they're right because of their religion. It is basically impossible to negotiate with a religious zealot, okay? Unless they are worried for their existence. But if the religion itself teaches you that losing your life in favor of that religion is a good thing, what do you have? What can you threaten them with? If they believe that their death is a sacred thing, how the fuck are you going to get into the table, right? Especially if so I guess where I'm going with this is that in order for negotiations to work, someone has to have a stick. Okay? And I would
Which the
say
US has without military
um,
power.
that's what I was about to say. America serves better purpose as the stick that's waiting in case the negotiations fail. And that's not to say that I think that we should be colonial stomping through Middle East or anything like that. I'm saying that we should be encouraging our allies in the region to be negotiating peace deals and to be able to find middle ground. But from what I've seen in most of these conflicts, there's no middle ground to be had. Nobody wants middle ground. They want
So
their way
so
or the
here's the
highway.
thing. Here's the thing. That is not what I meant by the U.S. being that stick. The U.S. being the stick, especially in right now. All right. So this directly applies to right now, not really other times.
Sure.
Worldwide fucking economy horrible.
Yes.
These countries, a lot of these countries are suffering more so than countries in the West. All right. The U.S., while our economy may be kind of shit right now, we are still doing a million times better than these countries. And we have the ability to provide the economic power that they need. So we can rule diplomacy with economic power rather than physical power right now. And also, I'm not that opposed to physical power, but I'd prefer diplomacy.
So again, I prefer the diplomacy as well. I just believe that the US has that for two different reasons. The US should not be involved in the diplomacy. Number one, because somebody has to be holding the stick, but related but distinct is the fact that the person who is holding the stick is always going to negotiate for their own best interests, not the best interests of the region in question. So
Yes.
whether it's Russia or whether it's China or whether it's the US, we're always the big stick involved is always going to be trying to cater to their interests, not necessarily to the interests of the region. And so the US, by staying out of it, but waiting in the wings as the big bully if that needs be, right? Then I feel like that's a better purpose for like the boogeyman, essentially. Like I hate to say it, but that's kind of what we've already become in the Middle East because of our existing fuck ups. So maybe we just lean into that.
I would say yes, except let's think strictly on like numbers of countries right now. In terms of US allies, or like sort of allies at the very least. We've got what? We've got Saudi, we've got the UAE, we've got Egypt, we've got Israel.
Yeah.
That's it. And then you have Iran in there that has a lot of power and influence, not necessarily power, but influence over a lot of these countries. Iran, what are they powered by? Do you know?
Iran? Who are
Yeah.
they backed by, you mean? Russia.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Russia,
When you say
I
powered
feel
by, I'm
like,
like, I don't
yeah,
think they
that
have
it was the wrong choice of
nuclear
words.
power plants.
It,
Coal? Oil? No, but
no,
yes, they are
they're powered
backed
by Russia.
definitely by Russia. Yes.
And so I think, okay, you and I, probably on a personal note at the very least, agree that Russia and China are not the best of countries. Not horrible, maybe you think, but not the best of countries. Can
I
you get on
fear,
board with that?
I fear them both for significant reasons. Yes.
Yes.
I would
So
say they are both considerable threats.
let's think worldwide. I would say that Russia and China having a lot of power is not necessarily a good thing.
Fair enough. Yes.
So, whenever the US starts to lose influence over these countries, they turn directly to Russia and China
Yes.
because they need the support that the US once offered.
So
So, in
you say
order for the betterment of the entire region and the world at large, the US should keep their power rather than letting Russia and China take over the region and just making things worse.
so I hear what you're saying, and I agree. But what do you mean by support? Because I'm saying that we're there to be the big dick swinging if we need to be. We're
But we
there to
already need to be.
support. So we don't want to stick the big dick in where it doesn't belong. Okay. Like we don't want to interfere because our past interferences have led to us basically being the villain of the world in a lot of people's eyes, especially in that region. Right.
I agree with you. I also don't like our past interferences. But just because we fucked up in the past doesn't mean we can't swing the dick around in a good way. Even if some people might not like it. Because there is a good amount of these countries that do want the US to be present. They want the US to support them and not their enemy, but they want the US to be present.
So real quick, I unfortunately do not speak Russian, hooligan, but
You got the Russian chatters.
I appreciate you being here. Hopefully, you're not saying anything too horrendous. Now, second of all, I have concerns when it comes to, so I tend to err towards American isolationism, okay? Because we have the resources and have proven post World War II, really even leading up to World War II, really from the Revolutionary War to, I'd say, the year 2000, we demonstrated an ability to take care of ourselves pretty damn well. We built ourselves up to be the economic powerhouse that we were because of the abundance of resources that we have. Okay. Now, anytime we have international allies, we are inherently giving them a rubber stamp to their atrocities. So every time, you mentioned Israel, right? Or Saudi Arabia. All of the things that those countries do that go completely antithetical to American ethics and morals, we turn a blind eye because they're our ally, right? So when
Yeah.
there are soldiers literally having sex with little boys against their will, American soldiers are turning their fucking heads to the side and saying, "Hey, it's not my fucking horses." Okay?
Okay, pause. Not worse than what our soldiers did in
Read.
the last
Sure.
20 years.
Sure. Again, there's been plenty of atrocities on our end as well, but I'm getting at the fact. So if we call ourselves, so the Israeli conflict is the biggest one. Let's use that one as the best example. The Israel Palestine conflict. Okay. It's easy to think that either one of them is the demon in this story, but both of them have done their fair share of bullshit against the other. Okay. Now, who thinks what's justified or who thinks that they have what claim to what or whatever? Either way, we yell at one side of that conflict for what they're doing, and then keep our fucking mouths shut whenever the other side does the exact same thing. And so that kind of hypocrisy is what breeds resentment and makes it so that we're useless in a negotiation. We'll never be accepted in diplomacy because of the hypocrisy of our associations.
I would agree with you, except for one detrimental fact among
Like,
that. So one of the few times I will applaud Biden. Historically, as far as I'm aware, Palestine has been a lot more open to coming to the table, open to coming to talk, whereas Israel has been like, "Fuck you, no, you're a little bitch." Um, but Biden got Israel to basically agree to come to the table. He's waiting for Palestine to agree to it now, but Biden got Israel to agree to come to the table through diplomacy. And that seems like a pretty good sign. I will fully admit that Trump's idea of diplomacy in the Middle East for the last 4 years when he was president were not good. They didn't help the tensions or anything. But if it's done properly, it can work well.
so I also do see, because I have very mixed emotions when it comes to the Israeli Palestine thing, and ultimately I have no say in the matter, right? Like, it's, again, it's not my circus, but we all still have opinions on everything, right? And my understanding is that the reason that Israel believes they have dominion over the area is because it was theirs first, until they got ousted from the region, like in biblical times. And then it got filled in by other people. And then post World War II, the global community said, "Hey, we're going to go ahead and give this back to them now. Okay, thanks. Yeah, y'all just scooch over there. Yeah, we'll just split it down the middle." Right? Like, that's the TLDR of the how that shit came to pass. So in these people's minds, they're like, "It's fucking ours. Like, what do you mean we have to share it?" I get that. Now, you said that about the Palestinians being the ones who are willing to negotiate, but my other understanding is the fact that the the beliefs of the people in Palestine are the type who stone women in the streets. Am I wrong? Is that
Sorry,
not
can you
one of
repeat that? I was reading my chat.
Palestine's, like, I've watched some videos of a children's program from Palestine. I don't remember the name of the show, but it was the most terrifying thing I've ever watched. And it was basically the most horrendous propaganda. I'll send you a link. It was a YouTube documentary that actually Moss was the one who showed me originally. And it's fucking dark, man. It's real dark.
Everything I watch is dark. I'm watching a Hitler documentary right now. Actually, no, not a Hitler one. I just finished one of the it's a documentary on one of the Nazi war criminals, his trial.
So when I say dark, I'm saying, like, it will scar you dark. Like, but you'll see. Like I said, I'll send you the link and you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, you will not believe this was an actual fucking children's program. Like, and how deep the propaganda was. Like, some of this propaganda makes Hitler look tame. And so, again, like, the things that were said about or against the Jews by Hitler are way worse being said about, hey, coincidentally, about Jewish people,
It's always
but
about
instead by
Jewish people.
Palestine. It seems to always be about Jewish people. If there was one marginalized community in history that I would say, you know what, you just kind of get a pass, it's the Jewish people.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no, they
because
can do whatever they want. I don't give a
they,
fuck. They,
yeah,
I don't care.
by everybody at some point, and or damn near everybody.
They could make the conspiracy theories true, and I would say good for you, buddy.
Yeah. No, seriously. Yeah. The Jewish space lasers thing. I was like, fuck yeah, good for them. Anyway. So yeah, so again, like I said, you two chumps who stepped in your own shit. I'm not sure what that means, but sure. Yes, we definitely stepped in our own shit.
I do it every day. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Uh but no, so again, like I said, we I don't believe that America should be interfering directly in any of the stuff, right? That's going on in Western Asia or the Middle East, because I believe that the United States is inherently going to fuck up any negotiations they participate in, because they're doing it for their own good. Now, I understand what you're, and I don't know enough details about Biden getting Palestine or getting Israel to come to the table. Like, that's not, I
I
haven't.
I don't know a ton about it. I know that it was in our brief, and I saw like one other source on it, so I couldn't find a ton on it, but the brief said it, so I trust the brief.
For sure. So yeah, like I said, if you could send me. Oh, you're saying it was in the brief.
Yeah,
Oh shit. Well, I guess I missed that then. It was on the pro case or the con?
it was on the pro. It might have been on one of the like, the other side will say this, so this is an option of what you can say. Might have
Yeah.
been one of those.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I read all those.
Here, I can actually pull it up real quick and see if I can read it to you.
I'm searching the document for the word Biden. Next. Next. I said next.
Oh no, it might have been in one of yours, like at the end of yours. That sounds more right. More right? Yeah.
Counter Iran's growing influence. Israel, Saudi Arabia. No.
Both of our shots, I'm sorry, we have to read because we have to find this out.
We're learning this shit. We're figuring out this debate, just so you know.
Yes, and I think we both wish we could show you this document, but copyright rules.
And to be clear, neither of us is debating a topic that we personally believe. This is a debate. We're looking through the actual topic. This is the national debate topic. So
Yes.
we're just going over it.
I
So
mostly believe what I'm saying, but
mostly believe what I'm
there
saying.
are things.
Exactly. I'm being more hyperbolic than I need to be. Increasing diplomatic efforts is not a, yeah, but Biden should take, no.
Bro, where did I find this? Okay, what did I write down directly in my notes? Because that might help me find it.
While you're doing that, I'm actually just going to Google this shit too. See what that does for me. And you know what? I think.
Okay, so what I wrote down in my notes from the thing was Biden has already started laying groundwork for peace with Israel and Palestine, with possible two-state solution to lay the groundwork for negotiations. And it said that Israel had pretty much agreed to that, and Palestine had yet to agree to that.
That's not going to work. Do it over here. All right, so that was.
Oh, here we go. I found it. I found it. Where it's on page 31 at the end of the page.
Dig it.
Yeah, it says that Israel's basically on board. If Biden can find some dividend for the Palestinians, it might not only help improve the situation on the ground, but could also help the Palestinian leadership repair its debilitating internal, yada, yada, yada. But basically, he's looking, yes, 31. He's looking for the Palestinians to try to help out. Bisky, who is Phil's a Minecraft? And also, our friend Horse Radish here is live on Kick. I linked his thing earlier, but I will link it again. If y'all give me a sec. There we go. There's the link to where he is live right now. Did you find it?
I did. I'm just gonna crash read this super fast, everybody. I hope that that's okay with y'all, but I'm gonna do it out loud so that way. But I will also give the appropriate credits. Jonathan Lincoln, an adjunct international defense researcher for the nonprofit nonpartisan RAND Corporation and an associate adjunct professor at Georgetown University. From Middle East, the Biden administration's approach, August 31st, 2022. Second, Biden's visit to the Augusta Victoria Hospital in East Jerusalem, together with the announced increase in U.S. assistance by $100 million, was symbolic and significant. It was also choreographed to coincide with an announcement of additional. God, that's really fucking tiny.
What are you reading from? The one that I'm looking at does not say 100 million anywhere.
Oh wait. Oh, interesting. No,
It says
you're right.
316 million.
It must have slid down. Sorry. Yeah. For the Palestinians, Biden announced some 316 million in assistance, as well as several measures apparently agreed to by Israel aimed at improving daily life in the West Bank. He also noted his support for a two-state solution along the 1967 lines, a crucial reference point that Trump and his allies on the Israelis' right sought to ignore. This perhaps made it easier for Biden to adopt the normalization processes between Israel and the Arab states, which was a pillar of the Trump's presidency Middle East policy. In an effort to put his stamp on it, Biden spoke to the Palestinians about reinvigorating the peace process with the momentum generated from the alliances between Israel and the Arab world. Wait, no, I missed a line there. New alliances being created by the Israel and Arab states. From the Palestinian perspective, the alliances between Israel and the Arab world are generally viewed with deep suspicion and even hostility. If Biden can find some dividend for the Palestinians, it might not only help improve the situation on the ground, but also help the Palestinian leadership repair its debilitating internal divisions and isolation within the region. This makes sense, and in any case, the much coveted next step in the process, normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia, seems for now at least linked to progress on, if not the full achievement of, a two state solution. Palestinians will likely be watching it to see if this is just rhetoric or if there is something more substantive to follow. Okay.
Yeah, and then I found another source. I honestly lost it, but I had another source that said something along the lines of this is pushing Israel and Palestine to the peace table or to the negotiation table, but Palestine is not all the way there yet. But
Real
it's
Coca-Cola
it's
is the
it's
best,
trying
by
to
the way.
solve issues which I feel like is pretty good and also pretty reasonable to assume would go to the peace or negotiation table.
So I will admit that Biden being in the Senate for as long as he was, he probably has more diplomatic chops than any president we've had in the last, fuck, my lifetime. Um, so
Yeah, we haven't been very good at diplomacy lately.
not when it comes to presidents. And ultimately, it's the Secretary of State's job, but the president kind of has to go shake hands. And the thing is, each of the presidents we've had has been good at shaking a certain kind of hand, but they haven't been able to shake everybody's hand. Right. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of Biden is more likely to be able to, hey, buddy, I'm just being your pal. He has that whole thing.
Just being your pal.
Yeah, Clinton kind of came close to it, but he even so was not. It was not the same. Uh, so, uh, what's going on there, Mr. Beast? Uh, yeah.
Mr. Beast, yo.
Oh no, Mr. Beast lover. Ooh woo.
Ah, damn.
Yeah, it was close. They're kin, but not quite the same. So anyway, um, yeah. So like I was saying, Biden probably does have more to bring to the negotiating table than obviously than say Trump, or even though that's what his whole shtick was, right? Was that he's the
Trump wasn't
master
negotiation. Trump was ask for unreasonable things and then go in with military to say fuck you.
exactly. Well, but that's also the way that both the Georges did, right? And even
Yeah, and the Georges led war crimes, okay?
I'm not the one who calls themselves a Republican or votes Republican. No,
Hey,
yeah,
I also
I don't hold it against.
fully criticize the Republicans.
Oh, apparently you look like the person who threw trash on Mr. Beast Lover's lawn. I doubt that was
Oh,
him.
Mr. Beast lover is Bisky. It's one of my chatters.
Oh, so you actually did throw garbage on his lawn?
No, but we're gonna have a debate to settle that.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's a long story.
I'll hear it some other time.
She threw garbage on my lawn. I didn't throw it on hers.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, well, and so America shouldn't be throwing its trash on the Middle East's lawn. How about that?
Trash. Yeah, I would agree.
And once again, like I said, anytime that we're going to get involved in the diplomacy, we're going to try to use it to our benefit. It's possible. I would actually be really interested to have been a fly on the wall of Biden's negotiations, right? I would really have been interested to see what exactly, like how much good old Joe had to offer, right? Uh,
Something tells me it wasn't primarily him doing the talking. He's just not very good at that. But him and his team did
whatever,
something.
exactly. That's right, exactly. And how they got that done, I'd be very interested to see. But I mean, I also am curious to see how that plays out because Netanyahu is back in power, right? Like that's like he was just recently reinstated as uh I don't prime minister, lord in chief. I don't remember what they call it in that area,
I don't
but
remember the
he's
name.
the leader. He's back into the leadership, I believe. Uh, so, like I said, if the U.S. was able to get Israel to come to the table, they had to have offered them something. They had
Oh
to
yeah.
have made it to like so that's my concern is do we trust our historically notoriously underhanded and shady government system to be the ones who's negotiating on behalf of not us?
Here's the thing. I believe that the U.S. has done some shitty things in the past. Always, worldwide, in every manner, they've done shitty things. We've
Even
done
to
shitty
us,
things.
even
Yeah,
in our own fucking soil.
but I do think that we have done less shitty things than some of these governments, which means that I think it is more.
Sort of an
We
improvement.
have more of a moral compass in terms of negotiations than some of these governments because we are also running off of whether it be our best interest or whatever, we are running off of some sort of best interest, and also our voting populace is more interested in best interest for a lot of these situations, which would affect people's rankings, and that's like their whole political career. But we have some sort of best interest in mind, other than the spread of what is generally an authoritarian government. And I think that you and I can both agree that authoritarian governments are not usually good. And most of these countries have some form of authoritarianism in their government.
Yes.
So
But
allowing
it's
a a
bureaucracy.
yeah,
That's the
but
problem.
it's allowing a country that doesn't
Don't
have that
know
going
shit.
on, allowing a country that doesn't have that going on to be the mediator or to have a hand in the negotiation allows for some sort of fucking moral standard that some of these countries don't seem to have.
But I still say that a country, an ally in that region, is going to be
Our
far
allies
better
don't have
suited.
moral standards either. We've
You
already
said
covered this.
exactly. You said
Like,
that.
our allies are just as shit as a lot of these other countries.
Yeah. So,
They just
well,
are good for our economy, so we keep them around.
then why? That's my problem with international and foreign policy is the fact that we keep doing things for the wrong reasons. Because we
We keep
can't
doing
be as
things
much
for our.
moral authority on the globe if we're actually not living up to our own standards.
But we do what's best for us, and generally what's best for the West. That's like generally what the United States policy and actions aim to do. Sometimes they fuck up, but they aim to do that. And I think that just is an overall better than doing best for an individual country or doing best for Russia or China.
Again, okay.
It,
So
it,
now
it's a
here
it's a
comes
it's
the question.
you have to weigh it because there's no actually good solution here. I don't think.
No, there isn't. But with the Russia or the China intervention, how much are they necessarily negotiating versus they're just saying, "Hey, I'll be your big stick." I don't know. I honestly don't know, but I don't imagine that the Russian diplomacy engine is that strong, nor China's. I could be completely wrong here, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that that's not what either of those countries is known for, is their diplomatic intervention, right?
This is true.
They're just going to say, "Hey, look, I'll give you guns." I'm okay with us saying that. Like I said, I'm okay. But the problem is then it becomes proxy wars. There's like your solution or your motivation, I should say, is to keep Russia and China from taking control of the region. But if we're intervening exclusively for that's literally the definition of a proxy war. And the proxy wars are what led us to the current situation in the Middle East and the reason that we're the fucking devil to these people already because of
Except what
what
I'm
we
actually pushing for wouldn't be any war. It's a bunch of negotiations. It'd be the ending to these already existent wars.
if the negotiations succeed. If they fail, they did nothing. And we're still
Biden
back.
administration so far has done multiple things good in terms of negotiations. Right? They've also created fuck, I have it written down somewhere in here. They did something with like the UAE. It was in our thing that we were looking at in our document. Bailey, why are you crying? What the fuck is wrong with you? Sorry, my dog is a little bit of a crybaby.
Doesn't have your undivided attention.
Yeah, obviously. It's the worst thing ever for her. Wow, I cannot find it in my notes. I did not organize my notes very well this time.
For what it's worth, my wife and I were watching your stream the other night and realized that your dog looks like it could be a litter mate of my own dog. So
Well, she doesn't look like any of her own litter mates, so maybe. We think that she was thrown in with her litter to try to sell her off as a lab because that's what they told us she was, which is obviously a lie. She's a boxer pit bull.
yeah,
But we think she got thrown in because she was an accident from a backyard breeder.
could be.
So maybe,
Yeah.
maybe she is a litter mate. Oh my god.
Well, and so ours is we believe it's got boxer pit bull, and there was another dog type that somebody said was like, hey, no, she's got this too. And if I heard it, I recognize it. I want to say it starts with an A, but I don't remember what it was. It's not an Anatolian shepherd, but it's something like that. Anyway,
I
whatever.
don't know
Just
many
for the record,
A
I like your
dogs.
dog because it's like my dog.
She's adorable. She only has 3 toes on one of her front feet. She had to get it taken off a couple months ago.
Oh, that's a
It was
bitch.
very sad.
Yeah, I'm sure she wasn't thrilled about it.
No,
In
she was
fact,
mad. She thought, yeah, she had a bone infection. She thought she was going in for like an exploratory surgery because we thought she had a splinter. And then she woke up that night with 3 toes.
bandage. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, she wasn't happy with it.
Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed myself. Like I
We're
would not.
really good at getting off topic. Do you know that?
Yes, that's I do that. I'm notorious for that.
You pull me
But I
off
think
topic
all these
every time we
topics,
talk.
I think these topics they're all related. I'm fascinated by everything, and I just enjoy conversation. So
I found what I was looking for also.
yeah,
It's
lay it out.
called the West Asia Quad. They have already made free trade agreement and multiple cooperative arrangements since 2021, which is all diplomatic efforts that have worked in the Middle East and that have seen benefits since Biden's election.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to illustrate examples of, especially in recent times, diplomacy seems to be working a lot better than it has before.
What do you attribute that to? Why do you
Um,
think that is?
there's a multitude of factors. Biden has a lot of experience. As much as I don't like the guy, he has experience in this sort of thing. He knows what he's doing to some extent. And there's also the fact that COVID and the current like global recession have put these countries in a place where they cannot support themselves in the wars that they're doing, and they need to find another solution. They're at a place currently where they need to find a peaceful solution because they cannot sustain what they've been doing anymore. It also doesn't help with some of the sanctions and stuff going on with Russia and these countries being supported by Russia.
So you really believe that it's just economic reasons?
I think it's a big influence on it.
Well, and you
Because
might be
the
right.
only country that's not really affected by the economics is probably Iran or Iran. But that's mostly because they've been living under these conditions for so long that they've just essentially grown accustomed to it. It's not new.
Yeah. No, that checks out. Well, but I mean, well, and I guess that you're right because the oil. Does Iran have a significant oil industry there?
Iran, I they do have an oil industry, but I was reading something. I didn't write it down. I didn't think it was important. I was reading something about because of sanctions and everything, their industry for decades has not been super profitable, and that's part of the reason they've gotten used to the shitty economic situation. Is because
Gotcha.
they've been sanctioned hard, which means they can't actually make the kind of money that, for example, Saudi Arabia can.
So when we talk about American interventionist diplomacy, right? I've heard from many time, or I've heard from multiple sources that most of Middle Eastern leaders' first response is, "Look at what happened to Gaddafi," right?
Yeah,
So they don't even want to have a conversation with us because we told Gaddafi, "Hey, look, step down and we'll keep you safe," kind of thing. Like, just knock it off and all that. And then even after he did that, we're like, "Yeah, we're still going to go ahead and kill you." Well, I mean, we didn't kill you, we'll throw you to the wolves, right? Now, that was many people believe that that was directly due to America's intervention in the entire situation, and that if we'd have just stayed out of it, not only would that leader not have been publicly executed after being sodomized and tortured, but also, and then I think eventually decapitated, at the very least desecrated.
I
But
don't know
whatever,
the details.
it wasn't pretty. Um,
I know
but
that much.
also the societal breakdown that took place in that vacuum, right? Was like we can't not take some responsibility for it. And there was literal slave trades in the streets taking place in Libya following Gaddafi's, like, so once again, as I said, if the more we get involved in any of this, the more we have to take responsibility for the consequences that happen, right? For the downstream effects of our intervention, as well as
Yes.
that of our allies. And it's like you said yourself, America has done plenty of their own atrocities. Why would anybody want them sitting down at a peace negotiation? Like, that's not what we're known for.
So here's the thing. We've done a lot of fucked up shit. We've done a lot of fucked up shit specifically in the Middle East.
Yep.
That is a problem. I'm not going to pretend that that's not a problem. And it does hurt the ability for us to still have a solid influence in the Middle East. But assuming, right, assuming we do what I think we should do, in that we establish some sort of consistency. Because what we've had as of late is saying we're going to do this and then changing our mind and then just leaving whoever we promised something hanging. Like it's we do it in the Middle East, we do it in a lot of places. But this is just our has been the US's strategy for some reason for foreign policy for a very long time. We did it to Ukraine. And it's fucked up and it leads countries to not want to actually rely on us and go to countries like Russia and China. Gonna keep going back to that. And
So,
so if we can wait. If
yep,
we can
sorry.
be consistent and if we keep our military out of this shit, I think it will help to fix some of the relationships. And a lot of these countries still do want US influence. They want it to support them. They all want it to support them. But they still kind of want it because it is extremely helpful to have the US backing you. The US backing you is like a golden ticket for almost any country. So, that power that we wield by being that golden ticket, plus trying to actually stay consistent for once in our lives, could allow us to fix some of the relationships we've had in the past and move forward and actually be diplomatic.
So let's have a thought experiment. What do you see as the worst case scenario for Russia or China dealing with what's going on in the Middle East? Why does that
Iran gets nukes and uses them.
on who?
whoever the fuck they want. Probably going to be our allies first.
Knowing full well that that's going to lead to an entire thermonuclear fucking global annihilation? You truly believe
They have already been fine with borderline continuing wars because of the fact that they want these nukes. I wouldn't put it past
their
them.
excuse is that these nukes are for defensive purposes to prevent what happened to Gaddafi, right? That's their excuse, their justification for wanting them. They're not saying, "Hey, I want to drop these on my neighbor," because they know that if they do that, that literally apocalypse is upon them, right? Like that would lead to a global annihilation. Somebody,
But no, I'm
whether
gonna
us
use it.
or
Wait. I'm
go
using
ahead.
your own point against you. They don't care. They think what they're doing is right. They're driven by their religion. They think what they're doing is good and they're just gonna go to heaven if they die, so who cares?
Touche. Well, so fuck. Damn. I hate it when I have to argue against myself.
Yeah, it sucks, doesn't it?
No, well, and so that's obviously a consideration. But to flip that on its head, how much is Iran, Palestine? Well, no, see, I don't know. I don't know the Iranian government's motivations. But what I've heard before is that they were doing it defensively. So I don't know if it's a religious, if is Iran a theocracy?
Iran, the
Yeah.
country with the moral police, the
Touche.
whole hijab situation going on right now.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah, I think they're religious.
Very valid point. That is a good.
The leaders are religious, at the very least.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, then you're that's so okay. So now we're back to being the global police. Now we're back to being the moral authority for the world.
I don't
Right?
think that's a bad thing. To an extent. Like, there's plenty of situations where we very well should be right now, the moral police, that we are not. It goes on to a different topic, but it's things like genocides currently occurring that the US is just turning a blind eye to. Like, we should be doing things about this.
We're
And we're
talking
not.
about like the Uyghur Muslims.
Talking about Uyghurs, talking about, wow, it's slipping Myanmar. And there's like 2 or 3, I believe, happening in Africa.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that comes back to what I said earlier about the fact that anytime the U.S. has allies, they're responsible for, or at the very least, morally responsible for the atrocities committed by their allies. And so the best solution to that, because again, our allies are always for the wrong reasons. It's not the people who actually agree with us politically and ethically, it's people who benefit us financially and economically. So our leadership, back to what I've said before, is looking to improve their situation and not try to improve the situation of the region that they're involved with. Like that ties back, I believe, to that fact. To
The, the
that,
thing about the thing about like I agree with you that our allies are shitty in the Middle East, but the problem comes up when all of the options for allies in the Middle East are pretty much just as bad.
so
And you can't just have no allies in the region because then you have
why
absolutely no influence.
why do we need to have influence? They're on the other side of a really big puddle of water.
Because atrocities, and also they're like a commercial hub for the entire world and an
But once
energy hub.
again, we can't
That
say
that goes
because
back to economics, but that goes back to the entire world, not just the United States interests.
we can't say because of atrocities when we turn our blind eye to the atrocities that like that's not our fucking motivation. Otherwise, any country that has women being stoned in the streets, what do you call it? A pride killing or a fucking mercy killing or what do they call honor killing?
Honor killing, yeah.
Yeah. So fuck you. No, 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 no. I will stand firm on the no on that. But America's not saying that as a group. Why? We'll go in for weapons
That's
of
the
mass
game of
destruction
foreign
that don't
policy,
exist.
though.
Well, exactly. And that's what I'm saying is so we have proven that we do not have the moral authority to be trying to impose our will on the region. We have made it clear that our will is not necessary. If we are willing to turn a blind eye to the atrocities of our allies, then we obviously do not have the credibility, the moral credibility to impose our morality or ethics in any other region. You see what I'm saying? The fact that we are willing to, we agree that we are responsible morally for the atrocities of our allies. That means that we are no better than the worst of us.
Can we play a little thought game?
Sure.
Have you ever done actions that are against your own morals?
I would have to say no, because I wouldn't have done them if they were against my morals. I might want my morals to be better than they actually are. But if I did the thing, I obviously had the level of moral flexibility to allow myself to make this exception or to justify this exception. I might want my morals to be the type that would prevent me from doing it. But if my morals were there and they were actual morals, I wouldn't have done the thing.
Okay, so the morals you want, have you gone against those?
Sure. Everybody has.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The morals you want, did you instill that on your kid? Did you try to instill that on your kids?
Yes and no. I lead by example. I firmly believe that leading by example is, and I'm not trying to sidestep any question that I like. This is an honest answer.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah.
I firmly believe, and I've actually had this conversation with my kid, that it's like, look, you started saying sir and ma'am because you saw me doing it to everybody. Not because I slapped you fucking upside the head if you didn't. You know what I mean? Like, I just led by example. I get up and I go to work every day. Hard work, and I live a decent life because of it. My kid's gonna see that, right? So I try to be a good person. I try to be as nice as I can to everybody around me because I know that my kid's watching, and because I believe that being that way makes a better world. Have there been times when I wasn't a nice person? Yeah, absolutely. Right. But
Did you ever talk to your kid about it and did they see it and you talked to your kid about it and been like, hey, that was bad of me to do. I shouldn't have done that. Or something along those lines.
sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shit.
That
I
so
apologize.
so you're saying you can instill these morals even though you've broken them.
I like
You see what
did
has been done
there.
there.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
That was very clever. Yes. However, I would say that my credibility has been at the very least exercised, if not completely broken. Uh, that otherwise you're there's a fine line between hypocrisy and acceptance of one's shortcomings and flaws, right?
Yeah.
I can't yell at you or tell you that you have to do a thing if I'm not willing to do the thing myself. However, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't strive for a thing, because that's back to my definition of morals. Like, we all strive for our moral code, right? Uh, my parents, I joke all the time. My parents ruined me as a child because they put me in Boy Scouts. Um, like, I would have been the best criminal on the planet. Like, I firmly believe that if my parents hadn't made me a fucking Boy Scout. So that said, I instead use my brain to try to solve other people's problems instead of trying to figure out like how I view loopholes, right? I firmly believe that if it wasn't for my moral code, if it wasn't for the ethics, but it wasn't like my parents beat it in my head or like shoved it down my throat. It just
But they
the things
somehow
make
taught you.
sense. Did they?
There's many ways to learn. They somehow
Yeah.
taught you or attempted to teach you. Right? It's like another example I can give is my friend whose parents are very religious, wanted to instill those values and that belief system onto her. Didn't actually live by the Bible. Didn't live like a good Christian, but went to church every Sunday. That was their way of trying to teach her these morals and beliefs. But it's that attempt to teach that's really like what's semi-important, at least.
So this is an unpopular opinion, but when it comes to nature versus nurture, I personally believe that there is a third option. Okay. I firmly say that we didn't need a book written 2,000 years ago to say it's bad idea to kill people. I think
Yeah,
that
I
was
agree.
self-evident.
I
I think
agree.
I also think it was self-evident that, that trying to fuck your neighbor's wife's probably a bad idea. I think that it was probably self-evident that you shouldn't take shit from other people. Like, I think these things would have been figured out without some sort of a religious moral authority. I don't
Yeah.
believe that humans needed to be taught ethics. I think that it's something that should be just self-evident to any person of any amount of intellect. Yes.
Yes and no. So there are morals and there are ethics. This
Sure.
is kind of like
Distinction. Yes.
a very fine distinction, right? But I took an entire class on this, so I have to talk about it.
Right on.
So morals are basically your personal ethics. Ethics are a system of moral values that an overall general group can agree to, right? So
Sure.
there's like healthcare ethics, there's
Quasi-autonomous.
legal ethics,
Gotcha.
there's all these ethics systems. The Bible's morality is an ethics system. Whereas without that, people would still develop the like general morals, but when it gets more specific, they would vary from each other quite a bit. And you can see that with probably everyone you meet, where everyone has slightly different morals.
For sure.
So the point of the Bible, I guess, in today's world, to an extent, obviously
Right.
Christians or religious people would say this differently, but to me, it seems it is basically just to instill a value of ethics. You are a part of an in group, you have these ethics. That is all it is. It's not necessarily individual morals, it's just an ethical system, ethical framework to live your life by.
Now, I still say that long before the Bible was written, we knew at least culturally that things like theft and murder were a bad idea. I have always taken issue with the fact that, and this was always one of the things that got me kicked out of Sunday school as a child, uh, was why isn't there a commandment against rape? Why isn't there a commandment against child abuse?
Why does God literally say slavery is okay?
Exactly. And so
Yeah.
that was enough to make me say, well, wait a second. So clearly this book is a little bit flawed. Oh, wait, it was written by people who said God spoke through them? Well, that's not suspicious at all. And then the fact that I found out the editing history, the editorial history of the Bible, and then I found out what the Council of Nicaea was and all of that jazz. And then I found out that, oh, wait a minute, there's plenty of books from the exact same era that are just as fucking credible or whatever that these people decided doesn't tell the story they want to. Well, wait a minute, that's weird. And then you find out, well, wait a minute, this shit was written hundreds of years after. And then you say to yourself, well, wait a minute, why didn't Jesus write a book? Why isn't there a book of Jesus? That seems like that would be a pretty fucking relevant book to have included, wouldn't it? Well, what's wrong with this picture? So then you start to see those holes, and it's like, well, now every bit of credibility that this book had and moral authority to me is compromised because I now know that this book was literally just used to control people. That's it. If you are poor and you have nothing left to lose, then you can't threaten to kill me if I get out of line. Death would be going home to my maker. Yeah. Like I'm starving and fucking dying anyway. If I steal this and you kill me, well, at least now I'm in heaven. Oh wait, you're gonna take away my afterlife? Well, fuck, now I can't do it. You see what I mean? If somebody doesn't fear
It's a
death
system of
because death
control.
is an improvement, then the only thing you have to threaten them with is after death. And
Yeah.
that's the whole purpose of religion is to control. So,
hmm
like I
It's also
said,
the whole purpose of government. It's the whole purpose of any
yes,
institution.
there's a reason that the government and the church have always been elbow to elbow, like throughout all of human history. Even when we were in a tribal stage, the witch doctor and the tribal elder were drinking buddies. You know what I mean? Like this has always been the way that it is done. Is that humans control each other. But then again, and that's so this comes back to the topic.
Oh, it
Albeit
does.
it does, albeit kind of distantly, because I feel like I said, all of this has been sort of still related to the topic,
You can tie
but
anything back to any topic, let's be honest.
I kind of can. So, with this though, power and control is the only motivation that the United States has for interfering in Middle East and Western Asian conflicts, right? Even if money was no longer an issue, even if energy was no, if resources, none of this mattered anymore, we would still find a way to have control over people, because that is the core of human nature, is to try to control others. Now, some of us again choose or find a way to rise above it, but I truly believe that it's a choice, that that instinct is still there, and you say to yourself, no, don't do that, don't be like that, don't be that guy, right? So again, it's a choice, and morality and ethics are a choice that are made on a constant basis. I honestly believe that even the biggest saint on the planet still has some thoughts that if you heard them would curl your toes. It's
Oh yeah.
not what they think, it's what they do. It's the decisions that they make. And so like I said, do you think for a second that the most callous murderer on death row didn't know beforehand that killing's a sin, that you shouldn't do that? Like, no, they knew that. It's not like that morality doesn't exist in them. They just made a different choice. They chose to go against human nature. They knew what they were doing was not a good guy thing to do, and they said, it's okay, I want to do it anyway. Why? Because they didn't have control of their situation. That's what I believe almost all crime, if not all crime, maybe even all crime, comes down to, is a bid for control of your situation. Oh, you're poor, so you're trying to steal things because you don't have things? Well, it's because you want more control of your life and your situation. Oh, you murdered
Do you
somebody?
know what rational choice theory is?
I don't know that I do. Lay it on me. I
It
feel like I've heard
is
this, but I don't
it
remember.
is one of the many theories of crime. The lefties don't tend to like it, but it is the theory of crime that basically states that people commit crimes based on a cost-benefit analysis. So, for example, let's do one that again the lefties will like. Um, so you have a mother who has a kid at home and cannot pay for groceries. There's a cost benefit analysis. Either you and your kid go hungry or you steal this food.
Yes.
And it also intertwined with that is what do you think your risk of getting caught is?
Consequences. Exactly.
Yeah.
The weighing of
That is you pretty much directly prescribed rational choice theory, and I'm very proud of you, honestly. As a sociology major, I'm proud of you.
So for the record, and this is to anybody out there listening as well as to you, I in my life have read very little, almost no philosophy, and I did that on purpose because I'm a thinker. I would rather not have myself influenced by other people that like are no like I want you to influence me in person. Right. I want this dialogue. I want the give and take. That's how I'll learn. But other than that, I just sit and ponder shit. And I ask myself, well, why do I think that is? Well, what if it, and I have these arguments in my head non-fucking stop. The last thing I need is somebody else to come in as some sort of an intellectual authoritarian and say, oh no, you're wrong, silly boy. It's because of this. You know what I mean? And that's what
Yeah.
most philosophy comes across as, is super fucking condescending. And then that's nothing against you philosophy majors out there. Best on you. But
No, fuck you, philosophy majors. I hate philosophy so much.
the vast majority of what you're going to hear come out of my mouth is not something that I got from somebody or a thing. But there have been other things where I'm like, oh, howdy, baby. Uh, I'm going to call you B My instead. How about that? Uh, anyway, the vast majority of philosophy writers and majors have a they believe that they're right. Whereas with me, it's like I don't assume that I'm right about anything. Actually, I assume I'm probably wrong. I'm looking for you to tell me what part I said was wrong. And so whenever you said that about like I assumed you were gonna tell me about this fancy theory that tells me that everything I just said was wrong, and
No,
so
there are theories like that. I just don't like them.
dig it. Yeah.
There's always a theory to tell you you're wrong. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah,
yeah.
like the only philosophy-ish thing that I've ever read is I've read a lot of Marx because he is a sociologist. He is not a fucking
Yep. That word.
economist. He's not a philosopher. He is a sociologist. So I've read a lot of his theory because sociology major. But I wouldn't even call that philosophy really.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, I've had to read Marx because I get into so many arguments with people who claim to be Marxists.
Wait, hold up. Bezjay, my notes are typed, but I do have this like half page of notes that was written before I started typing them. So fuck you. This guy said that you're more credible because your notes are written.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. What's going on there, Be My X2? Yeah. So brain fart. I lost. What notes do they think that are written? What notes are they seeing?
Oh, they're
Mine.
not saying any notes. One of my mods just said his sources are more credible because they're written down instead of typed, and then the sunglasses emoji.
I see. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. So again, back to what I was trying to get at. Uh, I believe that morality and ethics. I understand the distinction between the two, but I guess the ethical code of a nation, right? Well, no, specifically human morality, individual morality. I believe is a personal choice and would be self-evident to a person absent training.
Yes.
I did not. My kid was intention. Well, see, no, and I can't say that. I guess because and so in many ways, my offspring was a bit of an experiment, right? Because my wife and I have, let's say, some unorthodox beliefs when it comes to child rearing, and so we did our best to give our kid as much freedom as possible. I was fortunate growing up because even though both of my parents carried a religion or at least a spiritual belief, right, they did not force it on me. Funny story, they supported me going to them. And so by the time that I was 15, I no, 16, I guess, I had attended at least 20 different churches of every possible denomination because I have always been fascinated by
Little
religion and
religion boy.
knowledge. Yeah, well, no, but I was going to them to check them out to see what the
Yeah.
difference was. What's the difference between a Baptist, a Pentecostal, and a Lutheran? I don't know. I got to go to Catholic Mass. I got to go to a Jehovah's Witness meeting. I got to go, like, I was just interested in all of these religions. But I really was the guy, or especially the kid, who was often asked to not come back because I would ask these questions. Uh, then we'll discuss that next time, Mod. Um, but I would ask these questions that they're like, well, these other people can't hear these questions. You need to go have those questions upstairs, or go ask those questions upstairs. And so whenever I went up to the upstairs, I'm like, wait, when's the Q&A part? Like y'all are all just singing and stomping. I don't. When do I get to ask my question? What the fuck? So anyway,
Yeah.
the point is, and then afterwards, I'd usually get a handshake, and my parents were out in the lot parking, honking, whatever. The point is that my parents and I never instilled in my kid the idea that, hey, be a good person, right? I have always felt that it was self-evident because if you're trying to be the best kind of person you can be, then you are, in my opinion, oops, you are, in my opinion, yeah, that sucked. Stop it. Whatever. Fuck it.
What's your
I'm
chat doing?
having troubles here. I was trying to actually respond to the chat, but it's not working. So I guess I can't chat in my own chat. That's stupid. I don't love that, but whatever. Yeah. Um, fuck, brain farted. Uh, I believe that my child was able to understand that if you're trying to be a good person, that you just don't steal shit from people, that you don't murder people, that you don't you go out of your way to avoid hurting people in general, right? Like I guess the closest thing to saying that I instilled them with a morality is fuck bullies. But even that, I feel like should be self-evident. And every bully that I've ever actually dealt with, which is plenty, has been bullied. They bully because they were bullied, typically by their parent or guardian, or by an older sibling, or by somebody that they looked up to and respected. People become bullies because they were bullied, right? And it comes back to what I said, that they are trying to get control of their situation. I believe that all evil done
This
by
is just me
humans
checking if you left this
is
on if you did
directly
goofy goofy
because
goofy goofy
of
goofy.
the what?
Someone just did a TTS. I think it said I was just checking if you left this on, but goofy, 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 goofy. I'm pretty sure that's what the TTS just said. I wasn't ready for that at all. I'm sorry. You can continue.
Word. Well, that
Yeah,
was
that it just got me. I wasn't ready for it.
that's all right. Yeah, well, and I was kind of done. It still comes back to the fact, and the core to tie this all back to the original subject, is that the United States. Well, you made a correlation there, which was an impressive correlation. Make no mistake, but you made a correlation to the fact that I am fallible, but still credible, right? I would say that if it was a crime, if the I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. If I was if I continuously bully people, I should not be telling other people not to bully because I have no credibility in this. I am a hypocrite. If I steal from people, I should not be mad at people who steal. I would be a hypocrite. Okay. Now, yes, I may have stolen something once and learned my lesson from it and now say, please don't steal. But I'm not actively committing that moral crime, right?
Okay. Okay. Can I?
And for that matter, also, if I steal things and I say don't kill people, well, that's not what I'm guilty of. If you're guilty of the thing you are trying to influence, then I would say your credibility is suspect at the very least.
Exactly. So, going back to the topic, one of the big drivers, at least mentioned drivers, for pretty much any like big intervention that the United States tries, is instilling democracy.
Yes, that's almost every time. That's what we're trying to do,
Yep.
supposedly, or our
So
version
that
of democracy.
we have democracy of some sort. So we are not being like a fucking dictatorship while saying you need to be a democracy. We are
Less
also not committing
stuff.
for some of the other countries in the region. We are not committing war crimes on our own people or like human fucking crimes against humanity on our own people, while some of these countries are. Some of these countries that we want to be involved in, we have committed war crimes in the past,
Against our
and
own
we
people.
shouldn't. And it does. I will admit that hurts credibility in saying don't commit war crimes, but I think you should still be allowed to say don't commit war crimes, right? Like, we shouldn't do it. We should tell ourselves that as well. But I will also say our war crimes, from everything that I have seen, is a matter of people slightly lower down that were saying this is okay and hiding it rather than top down. Whereas a lot of these other countries, I have seen it be top down instilled that this is perfectly fine. Like, fuck up these people. They are absolute evil. You know, like that kind of ideology from some of these countries in war. And I think there is a distinction to be made there.
So,
Both are bad, but there's a distinction.
so earlier you mentioned the atrocities that Americans have taken have played out on other countries, right? While yes, some of these countries that we're talking about might be doing these atrocities to their own people, they usually don't consider those people to be their own people. In those cases, the people who are having the atrocities committed against them are typically somehow othered in advance, right? And America is notorious for othering people. It's kind of been in our history the whole time. And in
We're
fact, there are
kind of
plenty
really good at it.
kind of sort of, yeah. There are plenty
Yeah.
of people in today's society who feel that there are war crimes being committed against them, and a case could be made that they're not wrong. Now,
Okay, can we
I know
pause for a second?
that's a loose definition, but because we do
Just
it,
in
sorry,
general,
go
can
ahead.
we pause for a second?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Someone has asked me to get spicy water. I don't know if you would like to join me in the spicy water, or if you would like me to wait till after this. I can still have this full conversation with some spicy water. But
Go ahead with your spicy water. I've still got my spicy plant, so
spicy plant, that's true, you have that. I'm gonna bring my spicy water back. We're gonna do the small cup version of spicy water
fantastic.
to
Well, I'll
make
tell you
it
what. I'm actually only going to have probably about 30 minutes left before I have to call it tonight because I'm going on a road trip tomorrow. Like I said, I'm spending.
lame.
I know, I'm sorry, but I'm spending the whole weekend judging debates, and I have a long drive tomorrow. So, uh, actually, splitting the difference between our locations is my roughly. So,
You don't know
so
where
yeah,
I'm on the east side right now. You might be more than splitting.
it's north of yeah, maybe it's north of Seattle. So,
Oh,
uh,
you're going way over there. I thought you were
I'm
like,
further south. I'm
oh, I
south.
thought you were way east.
No, 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 no.
Oh,
That's just where my phone number is.
oh,
Yeah. So
maybe.
no,
Yeah,
no
you're
worries.
kind of splitting the difference.
Yeah. So, anyways, but yeah. So go ahead, go get your spicy water, and I will be patiently here, and I will be discussing with my chat for a few minutes to let them all
Yes.
know who I am, because
Entertain my chat. You can talk as much shit as you want.
I will do my best. So yeah. So to that end, all of you, thank you very much for tuning in and hanging out and watching us. Just so that you all know, I'm going to be judging some debates, some high school debates this weekend, and the topic that you see underneath is the topic that they're going to be debating. So I decided to ask Gorps, my buddy from Twitch, to come hang out and just discuss this topic with me. Originally, it was going to be a formalized debate, but we decided, you know what? Instead, let's just have a conversation about it and just kind of think
All
around
right,
it.
that was very quick.
You are
I
getting
know.
insanely fast at this.
Well, it's because I'm in my
Start
living room.
quicker.
It's like 10 steps to the fridge with the alcohol.
I see. Gotcha.
Also,
So
I want
with
everyone
spicy water.
to look at my shot glass real quick.
Oh, good lord.
It says, fuck me like the
Like
government.
government. That's beautiful. I
It's
approve.
amazing.
I approve of this message. What you sipping on there?
I'm sipping on Bacardi Silver.
Okay. Right on.
That was totally a sip. I don't know why I didn't get a chaser, but we're just gonna roll through it.
Yeah,
Anyways,
because you would be ruining the taste of that yummy liquid. So,
Bacardi, yeah, high quality right there.
are you generally a rum drinker?
Oh yeah, rum, bourbon, whiskey.
Okay.
That's my shit.
Triad. Right on.
Yep. Old fashioned. Ooh, nothing beats a good old fashioned old fashioned.
So I've proposed in the past that once you've truly yacked up an alcohol, you can never drink that alcohol again properly. The
Oh yeah.
taste tastes like vomit to you. And unfortunately, I worked in bars for too many years, and I managed to vomit every single liquor that there is at some point. And now, really, the only liquor I can do shots of is tequila or Bushmills, specifically Bushmills whiskey, and it has to be ice fucking cold. So,
See, I've only had cheap ass alcohol because I am
young.
young and broke
Sure.
and don't
No,
want to spend my money on that. Um, but I've had tequila once, and it just didn't get me drunk. Fuck, there's something in my eye. I don't know how. I heard everyone talked it up to me, and the first time I had it, I was in a tiny mountain town way up in the Rockies in Colorado, and I still didn't get drunk by it.
yeah, well, so depending on what you were drinking and whatnot, there's the tequila has it's just like every other liquor. There's a gamut of the good ones, right? Um, but yeah, tequila kind of tastes like dirty feet at the end of the day. But and that's why people do the shot with the lime and the salt.
You gotta
But
mask it.
those three, well, but the thing is they don't just mask, it complements those three things, and especially if you put a little bit of lemon lime like in it, that's all a margarita is sweet and sour with a fucking shot of tequila and a salted rim. um but and talking about all this now, I kind of am in the mood for doing some tequila. So
Always gotta
uh
do some tequila or some shot of some sort. Oh my god, Bez J keeps telling me to hydrate.
yeah, well, good, you should. because otherwise you will
Fuck
regret
that.
it. No,
I
you
don't. I'm too young to get
fucking
hangovers,
fuck
bro.
off right there, right there. You know,
I've never gotten one.
I really don't get hangovers either.
So how else would I regret it tomorrow?
Yeah, well, well, so what is a hangover to you? What does a hangover feel like? Because I guess I feel funny the next day, but I've always just kind of still been drunk the next day. Like when people talk about what a hangover feels like, it's like that's not what I experience. So I don't.
I always either feel completely fine the next day or I wake up and I'm still hammered.
Yeah.
But I never get like any of the like I feel sick because I'm hungover or anything like that.
Only thing that I've ever had is if you're awake when you go from drunk to sober. I feel like fucking shit for that. Like that I feel queasy and it's just ugh. But it's only
I
happened
just
times.
I just can't do it because I never I'm one of those okay, backstory. I'm one of those people where, for example, if I have drank, I will not drive until I have slept.
Okay.
Right? Things like that, where it's like I will still treat myself as drunk until I have slept it off.
Do the same thing with mushrooms for the record. Learned
Good
that
to
lesson
know.
the hard way. Yeah.
So whenever I drink, it will either be at night to where I'm already gonna be going to bed anyways, or if it's not, I just keep drinking until it's nighttime.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
I don't really like sober
Sure.
up from drunk. I'll sober up from tipsy and I feel fine there. But sobering up from drunk, I don't do awake.
Yeah. No, well, and especially with beer, like whenever because like I said, I worked in bars for many years. I actually got to the point where I would drink myself sober with beer. Like I couldn't, like I would drink and then get drunk and then keep drinking and end up sober. Like that's a horrible experience for the record. So, uh, no,
Doesn't sound great.
so the true story is that when I had my kids, so both of my parents are retired alcoholics. Okay, little factoid about me. They were never the abusive kind, but they were, they had their own, everybody does, right? Whatever. But uh, I firmly believe that alcohol just makes you a louder version of yourself. Like if you are an
That's
introvert by
facts.
nature, if you're angry by nature, like it brings in vino veritas, right?
Dude, that's why I drink a lot when I stream, is because I am naturally like a very quiet person. Like I don't talk a lot. And then I stream
Like
and I
rowdy.
drink and I'm just talking nonstop.
Because your inhibitions are gone. So really what you're doing, how you act when you're drunk, that's why I never accept an apology for somebody for something they did when they're drunk. If they say, "Hey, I'm sorry I said that when I was drunk." No, you're sorry that your filter fell off. You were
Yeah.
thinking it.
Yeah.
You meant every fucking word you said. You just didn't mean to say it. So, anyway, but yeah, so to that end, I always decided that or I when my child was born, I decided I'm not going to let my kids see me drunk until they're 18. Period. Like and to this day, my kid's turning 18 in the next year and has only seen me really kind of tipsy like twice in their entire life.
See,
So,
I feel like when I have kids, I'll be fine with them seeing me drunk as long as I'm responsible drunk. I will never get like blackout or anything in front of them. But like my family is also very much a drinking culture. We drink at everything. So it would be weird for them to never see me drunk. But if I'm being a bitch when I'm drunk, like if I am one singular time a bitch when I'm drunk in front of them, never, not happening again. But I expect that not to happen because that's not usually how I get.
well, and
That's
I
how I
was
get on
always
stream
happy drunk,
sometimes, but in real
so
life, no.
yeah.
What?
I was always a happy drunk, so it's not like I was worried about being abusive or anything like that. It's just a matter that and ironically, because I consume cannabis, like that's never been a problem. Like I actually used to joke that it makes me a better parent. Like, yeah, kid, let's play with Play-Doh for the next 6 hours. Fuck yeah. Oh, you want to color? Want to watch cartoons? Yeah, let's do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, but in my experience people who drink a lot aren't usually that involved in their kids' lives. And so that was one thing that like I refused to let myself fuck up was parenting. So
That's
anyway,
good. And wait, I have a perfect segue to bring this back to the topic for a little bit.
cool.
I think that we should run U.S. foreign policy in the same way as what's his face, Churchill, ran his country in World War II. Do you know how he ran his country in World War II?
Trying to think I know this,
He was
but I'm trying to
hammered
think how I would
24/7.
describe. Oh, I
He
see.
was
Just drunk.
hammered
Okay.
24/7.
I
I
thought you were
think we
talking
should do
about like.
that.
Okay, I gotcha. So all of the entirety of Congress should just be shit faced the whole time,
Entirety of
smoking,
Congress,
smoking
the
cigars and
president, everyone in the government, whenever foreign
drinking.
affairs come up, start drinking.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
Churchill,
that's
it worked out for Churchill.
it. Well, it worked out for England, but we're not British, and
We
like
could try it. I think we drink more than them. We drink harder than them.
oh my God, no. Are
We
you
don't drink more. We drink harder.
That would be an interesting.
I'm not talking about the
I know what
Irish.
you're saying. No, 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 no. I know what you're saying, and I think that you might have hit it on the head. We don't. We drink harder. Yeah.
Yes. We get
They
hammered. They just drink all the time.
exactly. They're always a
I
little
think,
buzzed and only could get smashed on the weekends or whatever.
yeah,
But
I think we should do when Congress is in session about foreign affairs, you are hammered, bro. See what happens.
and I would actually like to see the same situation, but with mushrooms.
I
I
want to
think
see the
that's the way
House
to
just
go.
all together hammered. I want to see what happens, like the 500 and whatever of them hammered all together.
There would be fights.
There
There
would,
would
but
be
it'd be
nudity.
entertaining.
There would be nudity.
It'd be the same reason I watch hockey.
Exactly. Yeah. No, the fact is that if our government was meeting to try to actually make the country better, if the majority of our government was motivated by America's well-being, I think that I think we would be in a much better position. And I
You know what I
don't know
think might help
that
that?
alcohol is going to be the solve to that.
You know what I think might actually help that? A genuine political education of the public. Because
Yes.
right now, all of our representatives and everyone is beholden to who voted for them, really. Because if they are not, it is political suicide. Now,
Yes.
if these people who voted for them knew what the fuck was going on in politics, they might vote better.
Yes.
And they might actually hold their politicians to a decent standard.
And unfortunately, that's the logic or the defense behind why you have to have why like they used to have it that only landowners could vote. People say, "Oh, that was to keep minorities and women from being able to vote." And maybe, I don't know, but it makes sense that you have to have some stake in the game. You have to have a horse in the race. Otherwise, you should not be involved in
Yeah,
the
I
vote.
mean, I think that historical policies were very much just trying to oust certain voters. But this is my hottest take, and I don't 100% believe it. But a voter test that says, like, you have to know the basic functions of government and you have to know what is on your ballot that you're about to vote for, yeah, I would totally. I wouldn't oppose it. Let's say it that way.
The breaks, my friend. I would actually say that every American citizen has to pass the American citizenship test that immigrants have to take before they are able to get a voter's registration card.
At the very least.
That's what I believe.
In terms of testing, at the very least.
Yes, because that shows that because it's amazing to me how many people who are immigrants can recite like the preamble to the Constitution, all the fucking, or you can like quote
It's
exact.
amazing to me how many people cannot recite the Bill of Rights or like the basic ideas of the Bill of Rights.
Mhm. Yeah, no. So and so funny enough, in the conversation that I had with aforementioned uh, is high school level or high school aged people, I was explaining the difference because they didn't quite understand the difference between communism, socialism, and capitalism. Like, it's very easy to summarize, but I went through it real quick, and the response was, "Wow, they really should teach this to people in high school." Like, yeah, they fucking used to. Like, it was called social studies. I took it. That's where I learned this shit.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like I
understand
went
how
to a
they're taught.
really good school. I was taught it, but I know so many people who weren't, and I'm like, what the
Yeah,
fuck, bro?
same here. And it's kind of a meme or whatever. But it's kind of a, it's a joke or a cliche. But like, why are we not teaching high schoolers how to file their fucking taxes?
That
Why are
too.
we not studying
I
what those
am
taxes are
totally
for?
in support of a mandatory senior year class that is just about how to fucking function in society.
Yeah. Well, and that's the answer, is that this is something that has historically and traditionally been taught by the parents. Because I also do believe that some part or responsibility of the child's rearing has to be on the parents, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but
you can't expect schools to do it all.
the only issue with that is comes when one person is a parent now and their parents didn't teach them, and
Yeah.
then you have the whole, well, where the fuck are they going to learn it then?
Well, and if we're going to count on someone for having the knowledge, then we have to also provide it for sure. Like, we can't be mad at somebody if they didn't pay their taxes if we didn't teach them how to pay their taxes.
To some extent, I think teaching the basics is good, and
Yeah.
beyond that, you should have learned throughout your high school career at the very least, critical thinking and how to look up things.
Question everything. I feel like
Yeah,
that should be written on every school of higher education. Question everything. And it used to be, I think,
not
like,
even higher education, fucking high school,
yeah, every
bro.
school.
Except
Yeah,
except the teachers don't have the answers to your questions, so
that's a whole nother conversation.
yeah.
So, but again, like, it goes back to what I said about the churches thing. It's like my whole life has been asking people questions that they were unprepared for. Like, that's not an ego thing. That's just a fucking fact. Why is this the way that is? I don't know, because it is. That's not an acceptable answer to me. The thing is, I learned how to do my own research, how to look things up, how to find. I will call up the person who has the answer back before we had the internet. Yes, I'm that old, and say, "Hey, why is this thing doing this?" Oh, it's because, and usually it's because thing is, people are really happy to talk about the thing that they're interested in. You would be
Oh yeah.
shocked at how easy it is to get a college professor to just babble at you about whatever their subject matter is. You don't even have to pay for the fucking credits. You can learn all of this shit easily, easily. So, and that's always been the case. So it's like, you don't have to go to their college. I don't need your piece of paper to say that I know what I know. I have had this problem with education, our education system, like, since I was this big. It's like, I don't. When I was going to college, I wasn't going to college to get a piece of paper. I was going to college to get an education. I took the classes that I was interested in, the shit that I wanted to know about, and that, again, that worked out fine for me. Now, I don't have a degree, but I have an education. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because I'm not going to take the classes you tell me I need. So is what it boils down to. But
I am very much I can get on board with no like mandatory college classes unless that is like a civics class, unless it's
because
something
those
along those
classes
lines.
should have already been done in high school.
Yes, but I mean with our current system, the only mandatory one I could get on board with in terms of gen ed would be civics.
Yeah. No, I agree. Civics and
Because
social studies.
beyond that, everything else is bullshit. I've taken so many college classes that I will never use.
Yes.
All of my high school classes I probably will never use. They taught me how to think. That's it.
And that's another whole thing. Like I said, I don't even think that there should really, like, I understand how close this gets to a Brave New World, right? But I actually think that we would be better off as a society if we had some sort of an assessment test that helps us to find our lane, right? Because and right now, the idea is, let's throw everything at the dartboard and see what sticks. I want to expose you to every single kind of thing there is so that you can figure out which one you're good at.
You
The
know those
thing is,
exist?
what? Yeah, the test? Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. It's
yeah,
called a
okay,
fucking
yeah.
ASVAB. The military's been using it for decades.
No,
Like,
no, 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 no. There's tests. I forget what it's called. We had to take it in high school in like sophomore year. Um, but it's basically a test that tells you what fields you'd be most interested in, what fields you'd be best at, and what you'd be the fucking worst at.
yes. And interestingly enough, because there's letters, and then there's also a title that goes with each of those letter combinations. And I couldn't make this up. I actually saved the results. I'll post at some point. Debater is is the career field that it said that I should follow. I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, okay, there's no way that that's like, get the fuck
I
out
mean
of
Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then that's the thing, is like, it's not like I don't have the patience to sit through the amount of college required to be an attorney. I would have loved to have been a trial lawyer, but I don't want to jump through the fucking hoops. Like, I can do my
Yeah.
research every time. I've read the book. I just don't
Hey,
have the
I'm
money.
just saying. I'm just saying. Do you want me to teach you a little secret?
Sure.
If you get a bachelor's, all right, technically in Washington, you don't have to go to law school.
Really?
We are one of the very few states that has I forget what it's officially called, but it's basically a mentorship program. If you can find an accredited attorney that has worked in Washington for I believe 5 years, maybe 10, to work over you, you are required to do 20 hours per week of study time under them, and the rest of the week is work time under them.
And basically, it's an apprenticeship.
And then it's 7 years. You still have to take the bar after that 7 years,
Sure.
but you don't have to go to law school.
So basically, you're just going to be a legal assistant for free or for dirt cheap. That 7 years.
You tend to like level up as you get through that 7 years, but you by the end of it you're basically an acting attorney. But you just are technically you're operating under the other person's license, not yours, because you can't have a license yet.
I'm afraid I might be too old to start that track, but that's kind of an interesting thing to know.
It's just a cool tidbit that I learned recently.
Yeah, no, that is really interesting. Go Washington. That makes me happy. Happy to know, but it also makes me apprehensive to hire an attorney.
Hey, they still have to pass the bar.
Sure, sure.
And honestly, I think those attorneys would be better than law school attorneys. Law school just teaches you theory most of the time.
Right. Well, yeah, theory and mock debate, right? Like mock trial, which
Yeah.
I did mock trial in high school. So, and that comes back to the fact that there are things that should be taught in high school that aren't, that may have at one point for a little while, but haven't been, and I don't understand why they're not anymore. Uh, but ultimately it's, you should be there to learn how to function, not to get a piece of paper. And if you're only, the only reason that you're taking any level of education is just to get a piece of paper, I kind of lose a little respect for you. Like I'm sorry if that's mean, but like if that's your main goal, if you're not doing this to make yourself smarter, if you're not doing this so you can learn things, you're literally just doing this to get a certification or a piece of paper that says, look, I can do this, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be
For the most part, I'd agree. For the
Yeah.
most part, there's certain things that are like hoops along the way that some of the hoops are just like, okay, I have to do this.
But are you doing it because you're interested and love that subject matter and that material, or are you doing it just because you want to get a job and that job has this much pay and this is the job that I've decided? Like that's what I'm
Let me
talking.
give you let me give you an example. This is like it's not the entirety of my like college experience, right? But there's classes in my major that I don't give a fuck about, that I will never probably use, but I have to take them. And those are ones where I'm like, okay, I'm just doing this for a piece of paper saying I got an A in this class or whatever.
I
Which
see.
is, it's not like the entire thing is like that, but there are parts that are like that.
Fair enough. And I'm referring to whenever the entirety is like that. But yes, I
Yeah.
do support. At the end of the day, you have an unavoidable, but that comes back to what I was saying. The idea there is that we're going to expose you to the options and information that you might not otherwise have been exposed to in an attempt to get you to have a broader understanding of the options, basically, is the
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, that's a different thing. But anyways. So I've actually gone like 30 minutes past what I planned to tonight. Thank you very, very much for hanging out with me and going over this stuff with me and kind of having the discussion that we did. I feel like although there was a bunch of there was bread on either side of the meat, it was still a good sandwich.
We still
Uh,
talked about stuff. Yeah.
exactly. So that said, I appreciate it. I will. I don't. Everybody, this is Gorps Inc. on Twitch, who's been hanging out with me tonight. Give him a listen, give him a like and follow and all that jazz. And I will start seeing y'all here on Monday through Thursday daytimes is when I intend to be streaming
Oh,
usually.
he's streaming
The
a
only
bunch.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be doing the political stuff in the daytime, and I'm going to be back over on Twitch at night for the other thing, for the non-political stuff. So I don't know if we're allowed to cross plug or what the
I
code
don't
is.
think there's rules.
No, no, I don't think
There,
there is.
technically, I'm not allowed to restream, but there was a Twitter exec that said that literally not a single affiliate has ever gotten in trouble for it. So I don't care.
Really? Well,
Did I
no.
say
So
Twitter
you're allowed
exec? A Twitch
when you
exec.
say restream. So you're allowed to restream, but Twitch has sole proprietary rights to it for the first 24 hours.
So that's what I mean. You
Not
can't
supposed to multi-stream.
multi-stream.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. You're not
that's what I
supposed to
mean.
multi-stream. You're supposed to only have it on Twitch for the first 24 hours, and then you can post the VOD of it.
Yeah,
But
that's bullshit. Fuck
yeah,
that.
again, so there are actually two people in my community who are listening who actually had dealt with permabans from Twitch because of some bullshit, and it's what I have learned, and that's one of the reasons why I'm interested to see how it's going to go for me over here on Kick, is because my understanding is that Twitch is very political, and if you say the wrong thing or piss the wrong person off, like 20 people, one of my favorite streamers is a guy named Probably Stoned, right? He's the reason that I stopped being Everyday Stoners, was because he got temporary banned because somebody complained about his name. He had had that name for 5 fucking years and nobody ever had a problem with it until one person got a stick up their ass. He was forced to change it and was banned for 2 weeks. Meanwhile, two channels up with 10 times his video or viewers. He was like a 30 viewers person. A 1.2K viewers is your stoner girlfriend. And
It's when you hit partner that they stop giving a fuck about banning you. So that other person probably hit partner before they got reported.
before they got reported.
Yeah.
Well, either way,
Twitch is dumb though, yes.
the fact that there's a guillotine, I don't like having to tap dance on coals. I'd rather just walk. And
That is
so,
fair.
and especially because I know that when I get going, when my mouth starts flapping, sometimes some shit comes out or some ideas that I'm not proud of. You know what I mean? But there's no
Yep.
telling what I'm going to accidentally say or do or who I'm going to piss off or whatever. Or for that matter, again, because one of these people like was kind of like it was literally just haters. People like the competition reported this person and got them fucking permabanned. So for doing exactly what everybody else was doing.
Yeah,
So
I'm still scared. Like last week, I dropped the F slur twice. I'm still scared, even though I'm gay. It's not one of those things where you can just look at me, like when a black person says the N word on Twitch. So I'm still a little scared that one's gonna happen.
sure. Well, you do always put the gay Republican on your tagline.
I know. I'm hoping it saves me.
Yeah, so hopefully that carries you through. Anyways, all right. Well, once again, I appreciate you, my dude, and I will talk to you again soon, and hopefully we can do this again in the future.
Oh yeah.
All
All
right.
right. Peace out, buddy.
Toot.
All right, kids. All right, how we doing? Also, I had it off for that last scene. Also, it's in the wrong spot on this scene. Where is this thing? Sub goal. We have a new sub goal. What am I don't know how to use Twitch, guys. I don't know how to use OBS, guys. We have a new sub goal. You get me to 15. You give me 15 subs, and we will be doing another cooking stream. Just by the way, no pressure. Can I call you Gorpy? Sure. One of my baseball coaches used to call me Gorpy when I was a kid. Alex, shut up. I learned a lot about you in chat, but I ain't saying nothing. Alex, how much did you expose me? I think it was an I love you nerd, but it still counts. My saying it? No, my saying it was I was laughing at you because you did something really cute, I'm pretty sure. And then it slipped out. And then I was like, fuck. And then you said it back, and I was like, okay. You might have said I love you, nerd. Okay, so he's automatically in with the wanting an unban. So your accounts will either get unbanned at the same time or not get unbanned. Energy. That's I'm not unbanning your accounts at different times. Your accounts are getting unbanned at the same time. It's not like oh well this one was banned here. No, you're all the same person. All right? You're all getting an unban at the same time. And you continuously pull some iffy shit. All right? Last week I believe you pulled some iffy shit. So you're going to wait a little longer, buddy. This is me and Mr. Beast. OMG. No, Bisky, it's not you and Mr. Beast. Alright? You have an obsession with Mr. Beast. You created a fucking, what's it called? Kick account with the name Mr. Beast Girl or something? Fucking horny little bitch. Anyways, let me fix all my tabs. All my tabs are all weird. Boom, boom, boom. That there. this here. Cool, cool. Um, what did I do last week? Pretty sure last week was still the race war stuff. I'm pretty sure the race war stuff was just last week. I think. I might be wrong there, but I think that was last week. Let him pick one name and ban the rest. No, because he keeps making new ones. Energy is another new one. Can you let me dream? No. Mr. Beast was on Lex Friedman. What the fuck? Okay. I have content, guys. I did in fact prep content for everyone. In case I didn't know how long that was gonna go, so I did in fact prep content for us. And it's not drama content, alright? Everyone be happy. You wanna know how many of you Rards watch Wubbert? Wubbert is amazing. Given this is student debt cancellation, anti-Semitic. Well, a conservative who supports Jewish bankers using usurious business practices on dipshit 18-year-old Americans. What a Catholic, what a patriot. Are those kids dumb and mostly political enemies? Yeah, it's usury, satanic evil. Yes. What is this? What are you talking about? Anyways, actual content instead of energy content. I'll never put someone's channel name in your chat, so I make Richard. Wubby, you can put in my chat. Wubby is one of the few, but you can definitely put him in my chat. He is deserving of it. Okay, so there are a couple videos that I've been seeing people reacting to, and I haven't actually watched full reactions, because I wanted to be able to do this on stream. So we're gonna do this. Let me change my stream titles. Uno minuto. Edit destination. No, I'm just gonna change them on the actual websites. Okay. We're gonna do what we're gonna title this. We're just gonna call this Be a Man. We're doing the Be a Man video. If you've seen people reacting to it, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then you don't, I guess. I don't know. I can't help you at that point. So let me change the YouTube title too, because we're dual streaming, because we're cool like that. All right. Save that shit. Oh my god. Sorry guys, give me a sec. There's so many fucking tabs open, so many more than normal, that it breaks my brain. Not gonna lie. Brain absolutely broked. Alright. Boom boom. Organize this. I love Be a Man vids. Okay, good. Because we're watching Be a Man vids. I was gonna launch my game. I'm gonna have to play a game, but I haven't launched that shit yet. So boom. I didn't get any of this set up before stream, because if you didn't notice at the beginning of my stream, we had a bunch of issues. And I had to restart OBS and my computer so many times before we actually got it to work. So none of my stuff is set up. Just so we're all aware. All right. And then this needs to be slightly bigger. Okay. We're good with that. Now I need my game. Fuck. Hold up. Am I playing Civilization? This person is opposing student debt because it's Jewish banker usury, thus supporting debt cancellation. Doesn't that make student debt cancellation anti-Semitic. I mean, his reasoning for it, but it doesn't make student debt cancellation altogether anti-Semitic. You love being man bids? Good, Best J. Um, I'll, I'll add someone in chat today. Just freaking was fuck. Just freaking was mad at Adventurous and it was bad. Who was bad? Adventurous or Just Freaking? I don't know who Just Freaking is. I love men too. Common. Peasant. I love men too. Why are we making horse noses? What the fuck's wrong with you guys? Are you guys rarded? I'm gonna start using that, Alex, by the way. I'm just gonna start using rarded as a, as an adjective. Oh my god, it's loud. I'm sorry, it does this every time. What up, Astro? How's your night going? I'm sorry for your eardrums if that was also loud for you, because it was loud as fuck for me. How's everyone doing tonight? We're moving this a little bit. Okay. I kind of want some more spicy water before we do this. Gifted was talking. Basically, don't try to tell me I need to talk about my feelings. My feelings are fine. I just have a lot of shit going on right now, and I also haven't been to class since Monday because I had an eye infection and then I was sick and I was like, fuck that, which now means I have to play the catch-up game fucking 1 week into the quarter. So I'm stressed about that. But what am I gonna do? Common, thank you for the cheer. You guys can all listen to that TTS. I'm gonna go grab some more spicy water to deal with my stress. Bailey, do you want to say hi while I'm gone? This could be dangerous if I just leave her here, but we can maybe do a Bailey takeover. We can try a Bailey takeover real quick. Bailey, come on. Up. Oh, you hit my mic. Sit. Okay. Stay. Stay. Don't move. Okay, you're still... The chair is spinning. I'm hoping it stops spinning. Stay. I need my shot glass. Stay, Bailey. Did we like the Bailey takeover, everyone? He's a political streamer, and he does not like adventurers because they have different views. Justin called them idiots. I mean, fair for that channel, fair. Even wanting to play a game like this? A game like what? Wait, what? Bailey, like the heck? Bailey thought that I was pouring her a shot, which I was not. I love that this is the time when Bailey's wish list came up in chat. Absolute perfect timing. Yeah, she has a wish list if you so desire. Kind of a hippie looking sounding guy. Yeah, I'm guessing you're talking about Justin. I don't know. I think I've seen his channel, but I don't think I've ever actually watched. All right. Come on, get down. Get down. Thank you. All right. Also, bitrate is dropping. Chat, are we buffering? Oh fuck, it's dropping even more. Are we buffering, guys? Okay, it's kind of going back up. Are we? Is stream quality halfway decent for you guys, or do we have issues? The YouTube stream says we're having some issues. But what about you guys? Are you guys having issues as well? Yes, you're buffering? Fuck, bro. Stream did not want to, like, it was starting me off with, like, 0. Fuck. It's still dropping. For why? Love you too, Bisky. Frame drops a couple of times. Okay, well, I just hope it fixes itself. I don't know why it's doing this. It was doing this earlier today also. I'm hoping it just kind of passes. Looks like it's going back up though. We should be in the clear very soon we're not already. I recommend refreshing. Never mind, it just dropped back down again. I don't know what the fuck to do for you guys. It's okay for Bisky. Okay. Well, okay. So Astro said he's been wanting to play a civilization building game. Do we want to play Civ 6 or do we want to play City Skylines? I'm leaning towards Civ, but if anyone wants cities, we could consider that. Do we have any preferences in chat? If you guys can even fucking see me, blame Twitch. No, blame OBS. It's usually OBS that's the issue, not Twitch, I think, because my stream is also having the issues on my YouTube stream that's happening right now. So I think it's both. I think it's just OBS doing what OBS do. But if you stop buffering, I don't know if you will. I hope you will. I hope it'll fix itself. If you stop buffering, do a refresh, and you'll be caught up at like normal time with, like you'll be actually live, you know. But I'm gonna take a good fuck me like the government. I think we should play. I need to go to sleep because I have class at 8 a.m. tomorrow and it's 2 a.m. First of all, why the fuck would you pick an 8 a.m. class? Absolutely idiotic on your part, not gonna lie. Second of all, fuck it, just stay up all night. Do you want me to play Civ? Look into it the other day. Okay, we'll play Civ. I will. Fair warning. I don't. Or this is semi new. Okay, I know really well Civ Rev, the really old one. I was playing Civ 6 for like a month, and then I was playing Civ 5 for like a month, and now I got Civ 6 like a week or two ago. I'm not the best at it. All right, but I win. I just win domination victories, but I win. So, we're gonna play it. I forgot what I was doing. Oh, I'm sorry. We're starting a new stream world. I was pissed off in our last stream world. So we're just gonna start a new game. Sound good? I don't think you guys actually have a choice. We're gonna start a new game. Restart stream, maybe that will not fix it. It's just OBS being OBS. It says my bitrate just keeps jumping around. Again, it was doing this earlier for like a half hour.